Good afternoon, all. We've got a mouthful of a session title, but behind this is some really cool demos, some technology. For those of you that saw the keynote this morning, you would have seen Arc XP focus for some of the work we're doing with 12 Labs and AWS. And this session is going to get down into the technology that was used to build those sessions. I'm Joe Croney, CTO of Arc XP at the Washington Post.
And I'm Jeff Schofield. I'm an AWS Solutions Architect.
All right, let's dive in. I have some excitement for day 4 of reInvent. To set the stage, Arc XP is a platform that focuses on the media industry. And one of the things we've heard in our parent company, the Washington Post, as well as the thousands of media sites that run on Arc XP, is there's a real challenge. And that challenge is that consumers have moved to a new universe, and the media industry at large is stuck behind. And they've lost touch with the audience that's so crucial for their stories to reach the impact they should have. And so we've talked about as a model of audience 1.0 going to 2.0 to 3.0, and much of the industry is stuck actually in audience 1.0. And that was a world of publications and papers, a one-way communication stream between media companies and consumers, a one-size-fit-all model that was controlled by media and where the value exchange was around attention. Then what we've seen with the web is audience 2.0 is a little bit more interactivity, a little bit more commenting, a little bit more personalized on demand, and control was shared with the user. But audience 3.0 is a big leap from there, and that's where consumers are today. And what media companies have seen is that the consumers are no longer interested in that 1.0 experience. Indeed, the audience wants to be co-creators in the content. They want predictive, immersive, and adaptive experiences. They expect to have control and ownership of those stories. And finally, they believe influence is key for that two-way exchange. In short, the audience no longer is looking for broadcasts and newspapers. They're looking for immersive experiences that we all see on our phones, and if we're honest with ourselves, where we spend our time consuming content. So that's the context that sets the stage where we're trying to innovate. And it's not just trying, it's an imperative for the media industry to fulfill its mission, to have truly powerful stories that can change the world. We need to solve this problem. And in Arc XP, we've got a hypothesis. We've got a hypothesis that AI could be the secret door that warps the stories of today into where audiences really live. I'm not sure how many of you have been to Stranger Things a couple days ago last week, but it really made me think about this. We need to get into a new universe, and it's not a scary universe. It's not a universe in which the audience doesn't care about stories and is just going through flipping and doom scrolling. Instead, it's connecting those feeds to deep, immersive, long-form storytelling. So I'm pretty excited about AI opening this door, a new portal really, to where the audience lives today. I mentioned Arc XP is focused on media. We're an operating system for media built upon AWS. The Washington Post started this a decade ago when they transformed from paper stories to digital. And this platform has 3 goals. It's for our customers around the world to innovate rapidly, for them to be able to own their audience and have a two-way streak going there. And then finally, it's important that the media industry finds new ways of generating revenue. It's no mystery that the media industry is not the healthiest sector of our economy. Certainly not as vibrant as what we see here at AWS and technology. Our goal is for this platform across our tools, our SaaS applications, our cloud-native APIs, our ability to have first-party data to really unlock the power. And what we've done over the last 2 years is introduce Arc XP Intelligence, a layer built on top of Bedrock and agents and some of the stuff that Jeff will be talking about in a moment, to light up all of our tools with new experiences with AI. What does that actually mean though? It's a set of services. We have a set of services for agents, vector content intelligence, governance, and customized prompts and models. All this is familiar because you see it in all the stands here. Just like all the technology and SaaS vendors, we're looking to use AI in a way that creates value. What's different is that we think there's 3 keys that Arc XP offers to reaching audience 3.0 with AI. The first key to this new universe is speeding up content creation without sacrificing the voice of editorial teams and the brands that media companies make. So we've introduced a set of tools to tune up the workflows that exist today. The next key that we've offered the market is around automation. This is agentic workflows and will be the heart of the demos and experiences we dive into later. But it's really about optimizing production for Audience 3.0, reinventing the way we tell stories. And then finally, we found there's new consumer experiences that we've brought to market. Consumer experiences that match Audience 3.0 and what they see across other AI interfaces and chat experiences. So we really seek to meet every media consumer where they live, in that new universe. And these three keys in Arc XP are in production today, and it's super exciting to see the frontier media companies using it in practice. And on that front, we've actually found that newsrooms are ready to walk through this door. 75% of them say they're using AI budgets for editorial content creation. 85% say it empowers journalists, so no longer a threatening stance that we first saw a couple of years ago. And finally, we see the initial focus has been limiting those tasks that journalists hate to do, freeing up time on those repetitive tasks. And ultimately the takeaway for us is that AI isn't replacing journalism or journalists, it's giving them superpowers, amplifying the stories they can tell. So it's a really exciting time in technology with AWS's tools, but also an exciting time for media because we can tell so many stories that have been lost before. What does this look like in practice? Here's our editor product. You can see each one of those blue buttons is actually an agent, a custom prompt, which our customers can select the model that sits underneath. And those are doing things like summarization, speech to text, optimizing for print length, optimizing for personalization. This is being used by our customers today to dramatically improve the efficiency of stories. But when we thought about the platform when we built it, we knew we couldn't have a one-size-fit-all. So part of Arc Intelligence uses Bedrock to put our customers in control of their prompts. Give them the ability to select for every one of those actions which model sits below it, whether it's a Bedrock model, one from Anthropic, or from OpenAI. And so you can select it by feature, toggle them on and off, set the temperature and tone. We do all of the tracking of this so that if a story was generated and assisted with AI, we keep hold of that metadata so that if it's presented to a consumer, many of our brands say they want to annotate it. They want the consumer to know if a story was written purely by human voice or if it was an augmented experience with AI bots and agents complementing those storytellers. So it's a pretty exciting platform. We've got a lot of great response to it. And when we began this 2 or 3 years ago, Jeff, you gave us advice as to where we should focus. Yep. We spent a lot of time on fine-tuning, on selecting the models. And when I look at what AWS has launched this week, it's changed a lot of that game. We're no longer focused kind of on those core services, those undifferentiated services that AWS is so good at. We've moved up the stack in a way that creates more value in the platform. So a little bit about the back end. Tell us how this works.
Absolutely. So Arc came to us and they really wanted to partner with us when it came to AI Editor. And we were happy to give their customers the flexibility to choose a wide variety of industry-leading models. With Arc tapping into Bedrock, their customers can choose their preferred model at the drop of a hat. And that includes Amazon's Nova models, Llama, Claude, and then they can choose that right balance between cost, latency, governance. And in speaking of that, they also are able to securely integrate their own data via their media-focused content vector store. This is a way their customers are now able to get more content-enriched, retrieval, augmented, generated responses. When it comes to responsible AI, Arc XP has leveraged Bedrock to build really strong prompt management tools that their customers are able to leverage. And now the publisher can have a little trust in what the responses are going to be, and then they can also fine-tune those with guardrails. We took it a step further now. AWS and Bedrock Agent Core are now supporting Arc XP in building agents to help these publishers so they can speed up the content development lifecycle while maintaining their own voice. So later in the presentation, we do have a POC that we're going to show of a multimodal content transformation platform that we worked with Arc on. And before I go into that, Joe's going to talk a little bit more about how agents are really helping their customers be more productive.
You know, Jeff, I get to work with newsrooms around the globe on Arc XP. At AWS, you get to see a lot of different design patterns.
Yep.
Would you say this is something that other customers should be thinking about as they approach using Bedrock?
Yeah, I think they should be. Bedrock is an incredibly flexible tool when it comes to making the right choice for your specific use case, just because you're able to switch models so quickly.
Very cool.
Yep.
So we stitched this together into what we really consider to be an API with AI built for media. So everything from the vector content store to permissions, monitoring, observability, prompt management, the developer experience, and app security. And one of the lessons for me as a CTO was when we built this platform, many of these elements are the same things we've been doing for years when we create APIs. The permissions layer, the observability was so crucial. So that'd be the advice and one of the takeaways we'd have from Arc XP as you all innovate on top of AWS's services is you can't forget about the basics that are required to do things well. It's something that came up in the keynote this morning about thinking about security, performance, reliability. We saw those same themes come out in our APIs. The exciting thing for us though is going beyond just the workflow enhancements, it's going to agentic workflows. Where, as I mentioned, we can scale the storytelling while maintaining the human voice. This is one of our key strategies, and we believe that agents can assist with researching, drafting, editing, copy editing. Journalists should be collaborating with agents, having multimodal storytelling, which is the focus in a moment, and accelerating content velocity. So here's an example of what that agentic workflow looks like in Arc XP. Instead of having those buttons where a journalist has to select them, instead, as soon as they hit save, we have a swarm of agents that's doing all that in real time. You can see tags popping on here, you can see a description, summarization, and we're actually giving a nice outline to show which content came from AI versus which content came from the storytellers, those humans in the loop. We also give a full audit history so they can accept or reject different metadata changes. It's really an exciting time to bring in the power of going from these click one at a time actions with AI to a much more agentic workflow. And a year ago, we were all talking about agentic workflow, but I didn't see a lot of it in the industry. I feel like we're now on the cusp of really seeing that light up across the vendors here, and certainly in the Arc XP platform. So, beyond that, we do consumer experiences. If you were to go to the Washington Post today, you would see an experience that we call Ask the Post. And this is where we've trained, using all the years of journalism, a model where consumers can have a two-way relationship with our stories. They can ask a question and get a response that adheres to our journalist principles. Why this matters is that third key that we can unlock. The first key being tuning up workflows, the second being agentic workflows. The new key for us is really new consumer experiences that are much more similar to what Audience 3.0 wants. And that's where hyper content comes in for us. We believe we have to transform the stories of today into one that's an infinite set of possibilities. One that's not just text-based, but it's immersive with VR, video, and we've created with AWS an amazing tool using technology to solve this problem.
So we have designed a prototype proof of concept in partnership with Arc XP that demonstrates an integration between their CMS and what we're calling Content Forge. Joe mentioned earlier, this is something that 12 Labs actually showcased this morning. And this is a multimodal content generation pipeline for Arc XP customers. So as you can see, we're in the Arc platform. We're going to move over to Content Forge, and we're going to drop in a Washington Post tech review video. This is going to be uploaded to the platform, and on the right, you're going to see, we're going to choose blog article, transcription, social clip, and we're going to select 12 Labs Pegasus as our preferred model of choice. It's going to run through, and right when we get here, the agent is still thinking a little bit and accomplishing the full suite of results. Nova Pro is also generating images for us, and now you have a final set of results via the form of a blog article, a transcription made by 12 Labs with timestamps, and now we can pair those timestamps with the key points in the blog article to generate a social clip that is ready for you to post to any of your social media platforms.
So it's pretty amazing how we can use this technology to transform those stories.
Yes.
As you mentioned, this is just getting started. There are content formats here that we're working on with VR that go beyond that to really meet the experience that our consumers want to be in. We think this could unlock that door to the new universe of Audience 3.0.
Yeah, and I can't wait to implement all the new announcements from Agent Core into this. So,
how does it work under the hood?
So right now, we're connected to Arc XP's secure API, and that is pushing to the Content Forge architecture. If the backlog grows of a lot of videos, maybe archive, we end up throwing that into simple queue service, and then all those final results you saw are land in S3. We are intelligently routing all this content to specialized agents. Some of them take care of video to text, some of them take care of content analysis, language, translation, and even just writing code, whether it's HTML ready for a blog. So in addition, we also added an MCP server so that Arc's customers would have the flexibility to bring in their own data sources, and then they would be able to basically enrich their own generation workflows as they see fit. For this specific workflow, I want to call out that we use Strands agents. It helps tremendously when building AI agents with just a few lines of code. So what does it look like on a little more of a granular level? This is a small portion of the prompt from the multimodal agent running in the background. By leveraging that Strands SDK, we've been able to create the agent in a little over 1,000 lines of Python code. But I want to call out the bottom two bullets. Now what we're doing is tapping into Arc XP's ability to give their customers those controls, and we're having that agent honor those controls. Whatever the publisher originally intended in terms of their voice, the agent's going to adhere to that. I just want to call out also that we're utilizing, you can see that first line, all of those, the examples and the demos were done with 12 Labs Pegasus 1.2. So now I'm going to pass it over to Joe to close us out.
Got just a couple minutes left. I think it's worth telling the backstory here, because beyond the technology, beyond the services, beyond how we're using this to meet the needs of media, was a true partnership with AWS. Jeff and I were in Seattle at the beginning of this year, I think it was January or February,
yep,
with the Bedrock Services team, with a giant whiteboard. And out of that, we had a bunch of dreams of what we could do together. This was one of those dreams, and the partnership together really made it real. And so that reality that we're building, it matches the new reality we see of consumers, and they demand the new approach. So I think just like we have a new approach of coding and vibe coding and using great tools and partnership, the same is true for media. And we believe that to win Audience 3.0, media companies need far more than a CMS. They really need a platform that goes beyond managing content and hits those three goals, starting with that rapid innovation, moving to owning your audience, and finally allowing growing independent revenue. In short, we think the door is open to this new universe, but we need to be bold and walk through. And in closing, that's what I would say. Come out of this reInvent with all these amazing tools. Have the courage to go beyond your current workflows. Have the courage to think about really bold transformations and new products. And you won't be disappointed, because it's amazing what we've been able to do over the course of this year. And imagine what we'll do coming into 2026.
Absolutely, it's been a great partnership.
All right, I think that's what we had for today. Thank you all for taking some time. And if you want to learn more about Arc XP, check out arcxp.com, check out the media companies on us, and certainly I think we'll probably be doing a blog on this, Jeff, following up. Thank you all.